then you know I quit my job. So why aren't you back? Instead, you're working the weekend. No. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Miracle, or Population Me. If you're returning, welcome back to a brand new video. And you probably saw the title, which I have to currently make right now. But if you read it, then you know I quit my job. I want to quit anyway. So let's talk about it. So I was at the job for like a week and a half. If you don't know, I had a full-time, part-time job for a retail company. And that was supposed to be like my job until I get an actual job. And I'm supposed to stay there until I get an actual job. Shocker, I don't have an actual job yet. So why did I quit? I quit because they were trying to throw me under some BS, and I just wasn't for that. But let's go into it. So essentially, I got this job like January 5th, and I quit like a week and a half after that because I just realized, we can't do that here. So I was a store manager in training. So I was supposed to be there for like 6 weeks or whatever, and I was supposed to like learn different parts of a store or whatever. It was not bad. Like the job itself was really easy, nothing to it. It was honestly one of the easiest jobs I ever done. Except the walking was like insane, like 8 hours walking. My feet were on fire like every single night, and it was horrendous. But that's not like the biggest issue. The biggest issue, one of them, was the location. So the location for me, I take the bus. I take 2 buses to get there, which shouldn't be like, oh my God, boohoo, whatever. But it's like an hour and 10 minutes out of my way every single day. And I was doing that there and back. So if you don't know, I'm in Chicago, so it is snowing. We also had a winter freeze warning for several days 2 weeks ago. So going through to work in that type of weather was horrendous. It was like you're freezing. You literally cannot catch a bus without the other bus being super duper late, and then you are going there and back. And no, I'm not paying for an Uber because the salary they're giving me was like $45,000 full time. And I was like, I can't be paying for Ubers. I don't even want to do that. And yeah, so I didn't like that. But that wasn't the biggest. It was one of the biggest, right? The biggest thing, which I don't know if they should change this, but the biggest thing that was going on was that they were actively poisoning me against the company. And I don't know how that came off, so I'm gonna explain a little bit more. Essentially, when I first walked in there like weeks ago for my orientation, we had to do computer training, whatever. And there was like the director there, and she talked about how she worked at a different franchise within the same store and talked about how much better it was, whatever, right? She was just yapping. It was just like her way of being like, hey, this is my experience at this other company, same franchise, like same overall store, but different location. Her experience at a different location was a lot better than when she's at now. And she was at this location for like 3 years, whatever. At first I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I get it. Like, you're not gonna like the new one, especially since you've been working at someone for like 3 years. And I didn't think anything of it because I was like, what else? I mean, I'm glad she's telling me the truth, right? It will be terrible if someone lied to me several times in a row, and then decided that I should just go along with a lie, it was to me. But she was telling me the truth. So I was like, okay, well, as long as she tells me the truth, I don't think I'll have too much to worry about at this job. And if you remember my last video, I'll link it somewhere on the screen. I told you guys that there was another woman who was supposed to be there with me because we were both orientating at the same time, and we were both starting a new job together. She never came back after orientation day. I don't know why. I literally don't know why. I don't know what she saw. I don't know what happened. I don't know if she's okay. I literally don't know why she left, but she was a bigger supporter of the company than I was. I was there to do orientation and leave, but she was telling me how great the benefits was here. So I was like, okay, so why aren't you back? And I didn't even find out she wasn't back until like a week and a half later. So I was like, okay, that explains a lot. But getting back on track, it was the biggest thing about this company was how much people had problems with this company. And I get it, problems happen everywhere. But the problems were a lot larger than I would find in a corporate role. For example, this is going to spill so much tea. That's why I can't say the company name. I feel like they're going to, I don't know. Nothing really going to happen, I feel like. But anyway, one person who was working part-time, he told me that he was working like 12-hour shifts, and they were just putting it on his schedule. They wouldn't tell him until like the day before. Like, they would actively have him come in and say, you're working 12 hours, and he's part-time. Part-time. He's working nurse hours for a grocery store, part-time. And I looked at him and I kind of questioned, this is when I was like at the cashier. I was learning cashiering at the time. So I was like, he was telling me this, and I was like, why are you not fighting this? Why are you not like telling him you can't do it? And he's like, no, I'm used to it. I worked here like 12 years. And I'm like, oh my God, 12 years? no full time, but like 12 years and you're doing 12-hour days. Not every day. It will be like back to back and then a break and then a back to back again. And I was so confused because I'm like, you're doing 12-hour shifts and they're not even telling you ahead of time. So that leads me to the next issue I was dealing with, is the scheduling. It was the biggest point of contact for me to have to contact like at least 5 different managers of this store and be like, who is my manager? Who am I training under? Who is the person who's making my schedule? And for the first full week, no one knew. No one literally even knew where I was going to go. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know what to say about this, but if it has to be, it has to be. Just put me somewhere, whatever. I'll just do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Perfectly fine. I thought. And I did that, like literally for the first week, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, cold as hell outside, but I did it, right? I was like, okay, I'm not a weekend warrior. I'm getting my ass home. Now, my contract did say I was working some weekends, but I was also told I would know ahead of time if I was going to work weekends because, you know, you can't just have anyone working weekends and be a full-timer. Part-timer, you're probably going to be, you're cooked, so like you're working a weekend. But for me, I was full-time, so I had to know ahead of time. So I thought. Second week comes, and I'm literally doing my little thing. I'm moving around departments. I'm going here and going there. And my store manager is telling me on a Wednesday, I walk into the store late, like, because it was, like, snowing really badly, whatever. And I walked in the store, like, 30 minutes late. I thought she was going to say something about me being late. And I was going to be like, oh, but it's, like, a snowstorm outside. Like, I legit couldn't get here on time. The buses were crazy. And she's like, you're supposed to be here. Okay, I'm here at, like, 9 in the morning. 9:30. I got here late. And she's telling me, you're supposed to be here at 11 a.m. Excuse me? Huh? What? Hello? And I look at her and I'm like, repeat that, please. I don't think I heard you. It must be the wind in my ear. And she's like, yeah, you're supposed to be here at 11 a.m. That's what your schedule says. And I look at her and I'm like, girl, what schedule? What are you talking about? What schedule? I have asked so many people about my schedule, and either they don't know or they told me they'll help me fix it later that day, Wednesday. So I was like, oh, so you have my schedule? Like, oh my gosh, like, no one had my schedule. Like, 0 people. Literally no one. They didn't even tell me where to look, who to ask, anyone. This store manager, I literally just started working with her, like, that day. So I was like, girl, you have my schedule? Well, I have to see it. What the heck? Like, what do you mean? What? It's already a Wednesday, but sure, let me see the schedule for the rest of the week, I guess. So he prints out my schedule, and I would post it up here, but I like threw it away because I was so mad when I saw this schedule. But let me break it down. So on my schedule, it was like a 5-day week, right? So I work 5 days out the week. The schedule she had 6 days. Don't ask me why. She apparently go from Sunday to Sunday. I don't know why that is. It makes no sense. But anyway, it was Wednesday. So I was supposed to come in at 11 a.m. and leave at 7 p.m. And I was like, oop, can't do that, right? And then I'm supposed to work on that Thursday from like, I think 9 to 5, whatever. I don't know. And then Friday was 11 to 7. Okay. Kind of weird, but sure, whatever. Not sure why the hour difference, but you're supposed to follow the manager. She wasn't even here. I don't know how I'm following it. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. What was worse was that they had the weekends on there, and it was both of them, 10 to 6 p.m., a.m. to p.m., both of them. And I was like, oh, there's weekends on here. And she's like, yeah, you're probably working weekends. And I'm like, oh, I was told I would work some weekends. And I was also supposed to be told a week ahead of time, that I was going to work weekends. Because obviously, if you have shit going on a weekend, you can't be, moving it all around for like a job that won't be paying you very well. Especially if they don't tell you, right? You get me, right? I think someone gets me. I think it's not too crazy to say that as a full-timer. And she was like, oh, well, I scheduled you this way. You were supposed to have worked on Sunday of last week, but no one gave you your schedule, so I moved the day around. And I looked at her. I think I looked at her passive, like I had a poker face on. But internally, I was looking at her like, so this entire time you had my schedule, and you never decided to like give me my schedule, let me see it. You knew who I was when I didn't even know who you were. You did not think twice that, oh, she didn't work on Sunday because maybe she didn't have her schedule. You decided to reschedule me for a different day instead of just giving me the schedule that you had so I can look at it and not do what I did today when I came in early instead of 11 a.m. Oh my God, PM would be crazy. Anyway, so that became the biggest point of contention. I had to put on the biggest fake it till you make it attitude that day. I really had to do it. And I think it's getting like super dark. So give me like a quick sec. Oh, I'm using a new microphone. I always had it. I just don't use it for my videos. I thought it'd be better than me using another one. Anyway, I was so pissed off. And I was already dealing with so much going to the office, or when I say office, I mean the job. Because the job itself wasn't hard. Retail is not that difficult, especially if you've done it before. I worked at fast food. It's a lot easier than fast food. It wasn't hard at all. The biggest point of problems for me was just the non-communication everyone was giving me. It was almost like I would walk in that day and no one would know what to do with me. No one would know where to send me. I'll ask some questions and they all will say, I don't know. I'm asking you questions about my schedule, about when I'm getting paid, about where am I going, who's my manager, what do I do next? No one knew. It was so bad that I even talked about how they didn't even know I was getting hired because the HR girl, who I'll get to in a second, didn't even tell them I was getting hired and moving to their location. They had to wait a week before she gave them actual training documents for me. A week. That's why I didn't even know where to go, because they had no idea, because the HR woman wouldn't tell them. After she told me weeks ahead, you're going to this location this time to do this date. What? Why didn't you pass the information along? Crazy, right? Okay, great. Anyway, so the last straw, honestly, at least in person to the store, was when I was talking to the director, because at the point she needed my paperwork to fill out, and I was like, okay, great. This is the same director that was talking a lot about her old job and how much better it was, because she had good reasons to say this. I'm not narking on her or anything like that. I think what she was telling me was honestly the truth, because I've honestly never met that many people who will be honest about a role they're in and say, hey, this is there's a cons to it. You can obviously come into a job and love it, but if you don't know the bad things, then why are you, you know what I'm saying? And they all have been working there for a very long time, so I think they're just used to dealing with bullshit. Doesn't work that way with me, but one of the biggest things she talked about was how they were able to transfer her, who's in a different location, and after 3 years, they were able to transfer her without telling her. And I thought, whoa, they transfer you to a different location. And she said, yeah, they can do that. They can transfer you, a full-timer, from one location to another location without telling you. And she told me that she used to live real close to the last location store that she worked at, 10-minute walk. And now she'll take a whole Uber to get to her current location. And I was like, oh my gosh, they can do that? And she's like, yes, without telling you. She talked about how she once had to tell a girl who was on vacation that she was getting transferred because they wouldn't tell her herself. HR wouldn't tell her. They're the ones who transfer people, apparently. I don't know. But she had to tell the girl who's on vacation, hey, you're being transferred by tomorrow, so you gotta go to that store now. And it's that girl worked at that store for at least a year. No time to say goodbye, no time to get her stuff if she had it. It was you had to go somewhere else immediately. You thought it was a military. You would think the way they act in terms of information, you would thought it was a military, with how they don't want to tell you the right information until it's too late. And you're like, okay, but it's so disorganized compared to them. It's insane. Oh, gosh, how am I going to edit this? I have no idea. But anyway, the whole thing was just a shit storm. And because I knew that I had to work that Thursday after I found out I was supposed to come at 11 on Wednesday, I told my store manager I'm taking a day off on Thursday. And she told me no at first, and I looked at her crazy because I was like, let's try that again. I literally looked at her and then she looked at her calendar and she said, you can take the day off actually. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. So I went home, right? I went home, stayed my ass home, because the next day I had an interview. So I couldn't even go in the office. And I just remembered that the hours that they set me, I would have to miss my interview in order to work those hours. So I very gladly took that Thursday off. I don't know if I got the job yet. We're praying, fingers hope. I gotta wait another week and a half. I know. Oh my gosh, the week is turning out to be a long one. But anyway, I called. So after that, I called HR. I still had her number. She's the one who gave me all the information, the wrong information. Did you know that she didn't know who the store manager was? But now I gotta talk to the HR woman. She has been sending me wrong information since I started. I don't know how that's possible, but in my contract, it says the dates, it says the hours, it says some holidays, some weekends, some whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. And it tells us the pay and everything like that. Great. Why am I telling people the same information in my contract to the store managers in the store, and they're telling me that's wrong, it's incorrect, you're not going to do that here? I'm sorry? My contract says otherwise. Binding contract, by the way. So I'm telling this to the HR woman, who, by the way, didn't tell people that I was going to work at that location until I was already there. Didn't give them a training manual on me until a week after I started. Didn't even have them schedule me anything until days after I was already working there in the second week, right? Several point of contact information. So that Wednesday, I actually sent her a long email, hoping that she would reply to it. I would read it, but it's pretty long, and I don't feel like doing it. But then she didn't reply back to it. So on Thursday, I called her, and I was real upset, and I was like, girl, I was a lot more respectful and professional, but I was like, girl, you basically lied to me. You told me XYZs for my contract. You told me this would happen. I didn't get my schedule until like today. It said all these days on it, but it was like incorrect because it never was told me a week prior, like I was told to be, and all this other information, and the location is terrible, yada, 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 yada. You know what she told me? She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but it was like kind of supposed to be that way anyway. Like she tried to make it seem like it was always that way from the beginning. That the line was supposed to happen. The location was always supposed to be this long. That my schedule was going to be given to me that way no matter what I did. And I was like, okay, yeah. I let her talk, obviously. I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. And she's like, oh, you can email me if you need me to say anything. You can call me again. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, you didn't read my last email, but that's kind of, yeah, sure. Next time I'll email you again, I guess. I'll call you. You never know. And I literally was like, well, I don't want to go to work on Friday because I'll be mad. I'll be really pissed off. And I'm not going to work on the weekends because I had stuff to do on the weekend. I literally had things going on the weekends. And I was like, not going to put that all away because they want to tell me 3 days before the weekends that you're working the weekend. No. So I told her I'm taking 3 days off. She told me to tell the story. I was like, fine. I hung up and then I called the store. And then they were like, you got to call every single day to call off. You can't call off 3 days. You gotta do it every day. You're gonna call every day. You'll be off. And I was like, what? It was crazy. I don't know what the store is doing. The retention levels are high. Okay, they have a lot of older people at this store. That's literally the only reason why I think they're able to keep moving as a large franchise, because a lot of older people work there. There wasn't that many young people working in this store as a part-timer. There's a lot of older people. Okay? Use your imagination. So when I'm calling off, she's like, oh, you got to call off every day. You can't do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You got to call on Friday and say you're calling off for Saturday. You got to call on Saturday and say you're calling off for Sunday. I was like, what? Okay, sure, whatever. So I did that. For 3 days, I was calling off like, hey, I'm off tomorrow. Hey, I'm off tomorrow. Hey, I'm off tomorrow. Bro, I sounded so stupid. It was like, come on. Are we serious? Like, I'm not going to change my mind. Like, what? And I've come to find out that my store manager was taking days off, so she didn't even work the weekends. I'm supposed to work her shift, her hours, when she's there. Why was I going to work the weekend and she wasn't? Or did she look at me doing that and realize, oh, I'm not coming either? Like, you're the store manager? I don't know. Everyone was loosey-goosey until it came down for, like, real information, and no one knew what to say. And I was like, okay, yeah. So then Monday came around, and it was MLK Day, I think. So I sent an email. I literally sent an email to the HR woman because I wanted to quit. I just wanted to quit. And I wanted her to put it in because it's HR, right? I think they're supposed to handle that in a normal company. She didn't reply. Of course she wouldn't. So I called her twice on Tuesday. She didn't pick up. At all. Like, at all. So I did leave her a voicemail. I said I'm quitting in 2 different voicemails. I didn't call the store because I honestly wouldn't even know who to tell. Do I tell the store manager? Do I tell the director? Who handles it? So I called HR, and she didn't answer me. So I'm pretty sure she knows exactly why I called her. It's funny, too, because when I told you guys about the first woman who was with me during orientation who never came back, the director was telling me how they weren't even going to email her or call her to figure out where she was because they said she's a grown woman. If she wants to come back, she can. We're here. And I was like, they're not going to call me. They haven't at all. It's actually so bad because apparently they're not allowed to write up people. So it's been pretty bad. That's been a whole shitstorm. So that is the story of how I quit the job I wanted to quit anyway, without a backup plan. Because honestly, for how much they're paying me, I was getting frostbites going to the office. it got to the point where I could come home and be exhausted. I wouldn't do anything. I feel like I had no energy. It was so bad that I honestly would never have done the challenge if it wasn't for me quitting. I wouldn't be doing a lot of other shit if it wasn't for me quitting. So, like, I legit had a whole interview that I would have to miss if I went to the job at the hours they told me to go the day of. Like, come on now. So I don't regret it. It's been like almost 3 weeks or 2. I don't regret it. I really don't want to work there. I feel like if I want to work at a different job that will send me far away, I'd rather work at a job that I would actually go to. Like, if I'm going to work retail, let me work in a store that I'll actually shop from and not just one that would just lower the cost when it's convenient to them. So that's that story. And then on top of that, I was almost scammed from a scam company. I'll put the name on the title because I don't give a fuck. But they are scamming people on social media by saying they're appointment setters, and I fell for it. But I fell for it on purpose, and then also partly on accident, because I was on Instagram when I saw it, so I kind of knew it wasn't a real job, because Instagram does not have real jobs on there as an ad, unless it's social media, but it wasn't social media at all. It was literally appointment setter, which, if you don't know, you set appointments for people who want to potentially buy a product that's like expensive, whatever. And essentially, I joined thinking it was real, but also skeptical. I did a whole interview. It sounded real. They didn't promise me anything. They were being honest about the money, and I was like, okay, interesting. It's sales, so half of the time sales sounds sketchy. This one didn't sound sketchy. It actually and I've been scammed before, so I kind of know how sketchy jobs can sound. But this one didn't sound sketchy. It was supposed to be, in their words, a training program where you're trained to learn how to be an appointment setter so you can help people buy product from high industry stuff, concert tickets, I don't know what else, Super Bowl tickets, something that's over $1,000 of money worth. You can help them pay for it, or not pay for it, but like, you know, help them purchase it. I don't know who's doing that in real life, but apparently it's a real job. Not with them, they're scamming. But the entire thing sounded real. Even when you get into the like actual company as an appointment center, it sounds real. I'm looking out for like the scamming words of like, you can make so much money if you work with us, for sure. But they don't say that. The people in there are trying to tell you like, oh, you might not make that much money at first, but you have to like go through the training, do these 4 points, do all this like learning how to call people, do the scripts and stuff, and then you get to that point. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it sounds like a sales job. Like, I don't know how real a sales job is because I don't like sales, but I thought, I am quitting my store job, so I need a job, right? Now, the biggest thing that came off as a red flag, a huge red flag, you have to pay for the training. And I was like, interesting. You got to pay for training. The thing is, they're saying you'll get a refund once you finish 60 days with us. That's a training period. Why aren't they paying it for themselves? I don't know. But they make you open several credit cards, because it's a total of like $8,000, maybe $6,000 to $8,000 you're paying for out of several credit cards, right? And they're saying we'll pay you back in 60 days. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, why am I falling for it? I don't know. But in my head, I'm like, I'm not really going to pay for it because it's not, it's in my name. I'll pay for it if it comes down to it. But in my head, I'm like, so what are we going to do about it? There's a happy ending to this, I promise. So don't be in the comments saying, Miracle, you fell for it. I know, okay, whatever. But you listen. Happy endings. It's all about the morals or the moral of the story, whatever. I don't know. Point is, I paid for it. Not really. I opened up like 3 different credit cards. My credit score was amazing. So even if it goes down, I don't care. Like, I'll build it back up. I don't really have debt, so it's fine. I opened 3, paid for 3, or, $2,000 on each card. And then you get into the training program and you're like, oh, I'm going to be taught how to do appointment setting and do different industries and all that jazz. That's what they tell you. That's what they say in all the interviews and even the training calls you have. And then you get to the actual calls. Oh my God. If I can find the script, I probably won't be able to find a script. But if I can find a script, you know how, if you don't know how to tell if a job is scamming, they're usually the main ones. Well, only one. I don't know one main one. It's a pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are jobs that claim they are real businesses and selling you a real product, when in reality they want you to get as many referrals into a company so that they can get more people to scam, as in you're paying for their training, but in reality, in order in reality, you're not getting real training. You're getting more people who will pay to be in the fake training. So people at the very top are asking people at the very bottom to get more people to join their company and pay for the training. So no one actually sells anything. You don't sell the product they are claiming to sell. You're selling people's money to the higher people in the group, right? And that's basically what I just did. I just opened up 3 credit cards, paid $68,000, and they got that money. And now I'm supposed to do the same thing because the scripts are all saying, hey, go call these people who said they wanted to join our company and convince them to join our company so that the sellers can actually close and get them to pay $6,000 to $8,000 like you did. Mind you, they were not telling us this. This is the biggest point of contention after the money, obviously, that they're supposed to be like, hey, this is a scam company. Obviously, they're asking you to pay for money, but they're also asking you to get referrals. That's a scam. If you're not talking about the product first, you're scamming. They didn't talk about the product until we got to the actual script on our own. And I was like, these scripts look like I'm getting referrals. Like every one of these is like, hey, contact these people, email them, send a text. And it's like, they're not even, why would I do that? You do that, people will literally curse you out on the phone and say, I already told people to stop calling me about this. And I'm like, oh my God, we're scamming. So I was with that. I did that for like 2 days. I did that for 2 days because I wasn't believing them when they said, because I was looking for signs. I really was looking for signs because I was like, the money is a big sign, obviously. I know that. Look at me. I know that. Okay, great. We know that together. But I wanted to know how else they're a scam company, and they are a referral company. They do referrals. They don't tell you that because that will make them a scam company. They have a website. They blocked me after I tried to dispute my cards. I disputed all of my cards. Did I tell you that part? That's how it's a happy ending. I disputed my cards. So I would not be getting charged on the money that I was paid on. But they have a website. They have a Slack. I have 1 or 2 of the numbers. I'm sure they're all burner numbers. I have their script. I have all their training documents too. So if you wanted to, you could very much see who's on these things and, I don't know, do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe they shouldn't use Notion anymore because that's a free platform. But all that to say, I was scammed, but I didn't lose anything, right? Luckily, I didn't wait too long. There are people in there who have been there for almost 2 months, and I'm going to be like, bro, you're not getting that money back. You're really not. Like, the amount of people you contact, and some of them are desperate for a job. It's like, you have to tell them no. It's like, no. Like, you're desperate. You will actually fall for their lies. I was just trying to see an experiment, and it worked out for me. So, yeah. Other than that, I've been pretty good. I think I was only with that company for like 2 days last week, and since then, I haven't had a job. So that's my update. It's a 2-in-1 special. I really just talked about my my job that I wanted to quit, and I finally quit it after a week and a half because it's just not worth it. Right now, it's like -5 degrees. Yesterday, it was -7. On Monday, it was almost -11 with the windshield, and I have to go to work in that. So, like, I don't really think it would have been smart for me to work at my retail job that was already building me anxiety. And it wasn't even a job. It was just the people. The people were nice, but the information they were not giving me sent me on edge every time I showed up. I will actually feel revolved, or what's the word? I don't know. I didn't want to go. It was worse than my actual job I used to have. But now I feel a lot better. This is episode 2, by the way, of Chasing Rejection, because honestly, I rejected things, so I think that counts. This is episode 2, so welcome to episode 2. There really is no next part right now. I'm not really going to tell you guys how many jobs I apply for, how many I've already got rejected from, because I'm telling you, it's a lot. But that's totally fine. I will tell you next episode more about me doing trying to get out of my comfort zone and doing more stuff that is more social media presence, because YouTube is great. I love YouTube. I'm here all the time. But I definitely need to, self-confidence was definitely on my vision board. If you're watching this over here. So I definitely think I need to do that more often. So I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the pictures I took in the last few weeks. Even before I did Chasing Rejection, I most definitely was trying to do something a bit more bold in my life. And we're getting more of that. So watch out for my new video next time. So remember to like, share, subscribe so you don't ever miss a new update from me when I'll be posting next or streaming. I haven't streamed in a while. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.